Hi, I'm Kent. I've seen some pots that have been made out of multiple colors of slip to form a marbled effect. This actually looked really cool, so I wanted to try it. The idea is you take a base color slip, and then you have a secondary slip that has some colorant in it and some mason stain. You put a little bit of the normal slip in the bottom, and then you drip in a little bit of the secondary color, and then swirl it against the side of the pot to create this marbling effect. I've never done this before. I wanted to give it a try and see how it could turn out. So let's try it out and see how it goes. So I'm going to try this in these two molds here. I've got a blue slip and a black slip. These both have 8% by dry weight of clay mason stain. And then in this container here, I just have plain slip. So it looks like we just pour a little bit in the bottom of these of plain slip first. So we'll do that. All right, that's not very much. So now the idea is we drizzle in some of the colored slip. And I really have no idea how much. We'll try that. And then we swirl this around the bottom of the pot. You can see the marbled effect starting to happen. I think we may try the whole pot actually. All right, that's a little bit around the whole edge. Now I'm going to fill up the rest of it with regular slip. This slip will get contaminated. Try to fill that up. Now let's do the little blue one as well. All right, so I think I had too much regular slip in here. I'm going to do the same. It'll go all the way up to the edge. All right, I'm going to just pour out this excess slip on the table here. And then fill it up as well. All right, we'll let those set for a while so they form the pot around the mold, and then we will try and demold them. All right, so I think we've got the pots formed against the plaster mold now. So I'm going to take the extra plaster out and dump it back into my container. It's almost empty, so if this is somehow contaminated, it won't mess up a lot more slip. And I'll just use it for some other pot. Oh, there was a little bit of color I saw go. I don't want to pour too much out. You see a tiny bit of color bleeding through, but not much. All right, there are the two pots. So now I will let those dry and set up so we can release them from the molds. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's really cool. Here's the other one. That one turned out pretty well. So I think the trick is maybe to put less slip in the bottom. And overall, I like the marbling going all the way to the top. Let's do that again. There's a little bit of coloring on the inside of the mold. I don't know if that will persist or not. So I'm going to put less slip in the bottom this time. Use my sieve. So that's just a little bit. All right, so drizzle some on the bottom. So you can swirl it around. Okay, so now I got it all the way up to the top. Just a very thin layer. I'll carefully pour in more slip. And the same thing for the small one. Just a little bit. I think I have too much, trying to pour some out. Fortunately, now I have some on the side. This means there'll be a side that won't be marbled. All right, put some black in there. And we'll spin it around. All right, we got a thin layer. All right, filled up the rest of the way with slip. All right, we'll let them set up, and I'll move these out of the way. All right, time for the magical reveal. Let's see how these turned out. Oh, that's where I poured the slip out on the side. pretty cool. I don't know if you can see. This here is a defect in my mold. There's a little bubble and it's starting to get bigger and bigger as I've used it more and more. Correspond to those holes down there. Oh, very cool. So I noticed there was a little bit of residue left in the mold from last time, and you can actually still see it very faintly. I wonder if that'll come through in the final pot or not. I'll let the new ones set up for a little bit longer and firm up. I will also trim the rims of all of these. They could use a little bit of help. And then they will be off to the bisque fire. So all these pots came out of my bisque fire. I wasn't going to show them to you. However, I had one that got damaged. This one in particular, when it was bone dry, there was a chunk that came out. And I tried to put it back in with slip, and I wasn't very confident that it would survive. But there's actually a hairline fracture now that runs all the way up and down here. And you can see it from the inside as well. So this pot, we didn't make it. However, the rest of these are in good shape. So I will go ahead and put some glaze on these and then show them to you when they're done. All right, and here are all the marbled pots out of the kiln. So these two smaller ones, I put a pretty heavy coat of clear glaze on it. Actually create this little speckled effect on top. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but it is what it is. This is the pot where I'd poured some glaze out of the side, so there is no black over here. One of the other things I noticed after I'd actually made these is that there's some of these spots that are on the sides. So there's some there. I think the blue one has some too. Yeah, so there's a clear spot here and a blue spot here. So these actually happened when I got the colored slip against the pot before I did the marbling effect. I think it's interesting all by itself. So I think it may be interesting to just apply some slip to the clay mold by itself and see what happens. Here's the blue pot. Because the clear glaze was so thick, I got this big drip on the bottom, which is pretty cool. Actually, you can feel it on the inside as well, although there'll be dirt in there, so no one will ever see that. And then here's the big blue one. It's unfortunate I lost that one pot, but that's okay. It happens sometimes. So I think that was really cool. Definitely something I'm going to try out again. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know below. I'd be happy to answer them. Thanks.